So here's what you need to know about the do's and don'ts of social media. We're going to go through a lot of different topics today. I'm going to try to be concise and to set this up in terms of like a do and then a don't. And yeah, so please let me know if you're here. Let me know. Bridget, how you doing? So let's start out with different platforms, because I think what happens a lot of the time is we tend to just think that all platforms are created equal, and they are definitely not. Hello guys, thank you so much for saying hi. All platforms are definitely not created equal. In fact, most platforms actually do require things that are slightly different. So, this whatever you would post on YouTube has no business on Facebook or on Instagram, right? The kind of content that you would post on LinkedIn actually can be different and can be used on your other social media channels. So the three platforms that for the most part do tend to work well with the same or similar types of content are Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Right? Anything outside of that, whether it be TikTok, whether it be Snapchat, whether it be YouTube, very different types of content. So keep that in mind as you're building out your content. The next thing that I want to kind of start with is actually post types. So basically what to post, what not to post. As agents, we tend to fall into some bad habits. And I think a lot of the bad habits that we fall into are specifically because we see other agents doing something. When you first get into the business or you first get onto social media and we don't really know a whole lot about what we're supposed to be doing, what happens is we just kind of follow the herd. Now, if there's one thing that we know about social media and real estate agents is that the herd is actually not doing things very well. And so it is really important to recognize what is good content and what's not good content. The other thing that I do want to recognize as well is that there are agents out there that you may follow and you may think that they are super successful on a platform like Instagram. And the truth of the matter is that they're really not. And there's a lot of agents out there who have bought a lot of followers, and when you look at their followers, they're really not real accounts, and they have these massive numbers and they're not really successful the way that the vanity metric looks like they are. So that's really important to remember. Just copying someone just because they have a lot of followers is actually a really bad way of doing things, because you really don't know whether or not their content is their content is valuable, and their content and what they're putting out there into the world is actually turning into closed deals. So let's start with the do's and don'ts of what to post and what not to post. So I'm going to start with a don't. So, and you guys have heard me say this a lot, don't post just listed, just sold, under contract, pending, things like that, with a picture of a house and like a banner across it. Things like that are like, honestly, like they're just advertisements, and they're not very good advertisements at that. So the most important part of this, or the most important thing that we want to keep in mind here, is the fact that we want to be providing actual valuable content. So if you have a listing coming out, how can you make that more interesting? How can you make it more human? Now, if there's one thing that, and I'm going to talk about market stats and things as well down the road, but the other thing that is so important is that this is not about what you want to post. Your social media is not about you. In fact, your social media is actually about what your ideal client or your following actually needs to see from you. Hi guys. Right? So at the end of the day, like instead of sitting down in the morning and saying, what do I want to say today? It's actually, what do they need to see? What do they need to hear? And at the end, and when you go about it that way, your content will be much higher quality and much more valuable. So when we're not, if you want to post a listing because you have, say you got a new listing and your client really wants that to go on your social media. Great. It can go on your social media 1000%, but it just doesn't go up as like a picture of a house with a new listing and a bunch of details, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, $499.9. That's not a social media post. Even if it says like, oh, here's all these great things about this home, that's not a social media post, that's an ad. So your social media is not a place for you to just throw listings at people. There's this idea of I'm going to get business just by showing people that I have business. That doesn't work. That may have worked 10 years ago. It definitely does not work now. So if you're posting that stuff over and over again, it's time to stop. That is going to fall under the don't category, right? So how do you do it instead? What's a do? So a do is going to be tell a story. And I say this all the time, and you'll hear me say this all the time. Stories are 22 times more memorable than facts. What does that mean? The story that you tell behind a listing will make the listing memorable. Whether it's the story of the client, how they found you, how the listing came to be, the relationship, what they're moving on to, tell the story of the client. Or tell the story of the client and their life that they've lived while they were in that home. Because chances are the person who's looking to buy that property is where they were when they first bought that home. So you're basically going to be telling a story that's going to resonate with the potential buyer. The other thing that you can do is just make up a story. Tell a story, create a piece of content that will draw that person, that potential buyer in to take a look at that listing, right? Any kind of story that elicits some emotion from someone is going to be better than just slapping a house on social media. When I see just listed, just sold, pending, under contract, like those things, my first reaction is that's lazy. And I know that that's not necessarily the case with most of you, that you're not trying to be lazy, but that's the way that it looks. It takes a little bit more effort to put something of high quality out there, but trust me, people are going to love your content a million times more when you do that. Okay, so we talked about the just listed, just sold stuff. Now let's talk about the random stock photos that you've downloaded from Pinterest. So the pictures of the pretty kitchens, the pictures of the staircases, the things like that with would you live here? Guys, that's also not content, so that's gonna fall under the don't. Okay, what you really want in your content is storytelling. So when we break this down, and I know I've done trainings on this, but I'm just going to reiterate this here. There are 3 buckets of content that you need to use if you're going to be drawing people in and giving people what they need to say, you know what, Juliana, she's my agent, even though we've never met before, because I have all of these three things, and I already feel like she's my agent. How does that happen? So number 1 is going to be authority content. These are the kinds of pieces of content that actually teach. They're mini trainings. They're pieces of authority that are going to people say, not only does she know what she's talking about, but on top of that, like, wow, I'm learning something here, right? So that falls under the authority bucket. Then we have personal, and this is the place that most of you are missing. The personal bucket is unbelievably important. These are going to be things about you, stories about you, personal philosophies that you have, things that matter to you. People want to know what your dog's name is. I know you think that they don't, but they do. Social media, all of social media, YouTube accepted as an exception, all of social media, they're social networks. Right? Social networks means social networking, which means humans wanting to connect and wanting to connect, attract, speak to other human beings. So if you're not giving people an opportunity to actually connect with you, you're missing a whole section of trust building. And when we're talking about trust building on social media, that's the most important thing that you can build, is you can build that trust, you can build that relationship, right? So basically what we're talking about here is what stories can you tell? What things have you been through in your life that were hard? What are some of the most important aspects of your life? What's your dog's name? How did you meet your husband or your wife? What's your most embarrassing moment? Like, all of those things and all of those stories are actually relevant to your audience in terms of them getting to know you as a human being. Your audience does not want to only see a bunch of pictures of you touring a house in like your Sunday best. What they actually want to see is you playing with your dog and playing with your kids and jumping off of a cliff in Hawaii when you're on vacation. They want to see all kinds of other aspects of you, because people trust people. People don't trust businesses. Okay, that's unbelievably important to remember. You want to be the face behind your business. If you don't have a profile picture that has human beings in it right now, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on Facebook, change it right now. Put humans, put you in your profile picture. People don't follow logos. Logos do not have emotion, do not elicit emotion. Okay, so all of that branding work that people spend time and money on, at the end of the day, it does not belong on your social media. Okay, so next don't. Your next don't, oh, sorry, your third bucket. I'm getting ahead of myself. So your third bucket is going to be social proof. When I say social proof, I'm not talking about just listed, just sold. I'm talking about case studies, testimonials, and PR. Okay, so you need to tell the stories of your clients. People need to see themselves in the stories of the clients that you're working with so that they know that you can help them. Okay, so just posting a review that says, Johnny is the #1 agent. I loved working with him. He made everything so easy. That's not enough. Okay, you want to tell the story. Where were they before they met you? What was the process like? What's something that came up during the process that was a bit of a hurdle? How did you handle it? Then from there, what was the end result? Right? How did everything come together? And that is an actually beautifully told case study. Okay, so those case studies are going to be massive. You should have a lot of case studies instead of just pictures of some client in front of a house with a, I'm so happy for my clients, Lisa and Jeff. Okay, that's not enough. And that's actually, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinions, it's lazy posting. Okay, so let's put higher level content out there so that you can draw those people in. I get people all the time that ask me, is it true that people actually just come to agents when they need business? Sure, 100%, but you have to put the right stuff in front of those people. There's psychology behind this. Okay, so your next don't put fade ins and fade outs of your logos on your social media videos. Okay, it's one thing if something's going on MLS or it's going somewhere that's being somewhere that's like a more professional platform. Facebook and Instagram, we don't want to see your logos. We don't want to see your logos splashed across things. I was actually scrolling on my social media last night, and there was a couple of agents that had really great videos, but I didn't get very far into them because the first 10 seconds of the video was like a black to fade in of their logo with some music. Guys, you have 3 seconds to get someone's attention on social media. And if you don't get that attention within the first 3 seconds, they're going to keep scrolling. Your logo is actually making your video look like an ad. So therefore, people will actually scroll faster past your video rather than watch it. And you're wasting that time. That's valuable time. So we don't want to see any branding on your videos. When I go live, I don't have a bunch of branding underneath here that says the listings lab, Jess Lenouvel, like here's my phone number. No, I'm providing value and I'm providing content and I'm just talking to you, right? Like at the end of the day, that's what this is. It's a conversation. And that's what people need from you. People truly just need to feel like you're a real human being that's providing value and wanting to connect. If everything you put on social media feels like a big promotion, your account's not going to grow. The only people who are going to like your stuff is going to be like your friends and your family because they're trying to support your business, and you're not going to get any of that inbound business that you're wanting. Okay, so no logos, no banners, no nothing like that. Okay, this is not YouTube. The next thing that we want to talk about, thanks Mark, I'm glad you're here. The next thing that we want to talk about is length of videos. So a lot of the time, we're in a Facebook group and I'm doing a training. So yes, we're at 14 minutes now, but this is a different kind of video than something that's going to live on my static feed, right? So for the most part, you want your videos to be nice and short. Okay, people's attention spans on social media are so short. Guys, I think it's 8.6 seconds is the average person's attention span. So really at the end of the day, you need to capture that attention really quickly and you need to get to the point. So 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Try to keep especially your value videos, especially your authority content, try to keep it under 2 minutes. If you can do that, guess what's going to happen? People are actually going to watch the whole video. You're going to get to the point. You're going to build that rapport. People are going to hear you talk, see your hands move, watch you smile, all the things that they need to actually buy in. Okay. The next don't Don't put a call to action on every single thing that you post. Don't put your phone number on the bottom of every single post that you post. This is again the same concept of give, 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 and then ask. This is even more than Gary Vee's jab, jab, right hook. This is like you want to give all the time. My social media, like I would say my Instagram specifically, has very few call to actions on them. Because at the end of the day, if people are seeing what they need to see from me, they're going to reach out, and they do. Because really what I'm doing is I'm building the relationship, I'm building the rapport, I'm building the authority, and everything that that person needs in order to say, okay, I'm ready, that's what I'm giving them. And it's exactly the same thing in real estate. Okay, so use those three buckets: authority, personal, social proof. Those three will never serve you wrong. Okay, so now let's talk about a do. Do keep your videos under 3 minutes. 2 minutes is really the best. And then from there, if you have more to say, do another video. You don't have to put everything that you know into one video. Spread out your content. A lot of the time people are like, I don't know what to post. You have so much in your head, you're just trying to cram it into one thing. So make sure that you're actually just spreading it out. Use one concept or one idea. If you can talk about it for 20 minutes, guess what? You probably have 10 videos in there for your static feed. Okay, so next, don't. I'm racking my brain, guys. I didn't write anything down for this, so this is totally off the cuff. Don't message people spammy stuff. Okay, I get so many agents who reach out to me as soon as they follow me on Instagram or on Facebook, and they say, hey, do you need a realtor? Or hey, like my business page. Don't spam people. I don't know who's teaching this stuff. Build a rapport with someone. Once you've actually had an actual conversation with someone or they're working with you, then you can invite them to like your business page. Okay? At the end of the day, how many people like your business page is not really going to matter. Your business page is more of like a housing for your ads. Okay, organic reach from your business page, especially, I'm not talking about Instagram right now, I'm talking about Facebook. So your Facebook business page, the organic reach from that platform is super low anyway if you're not running ads. Okay, Facebook wants you to pay to play. So if you say, hey, Facebook, I'm a business, but I'm not running ads, they're not going to show a whole bunch of people that content for free. They're a business too. So at the end of the day, you're actually better to use your personal profile. You're better off to use your personal profile, max out your friends list with ideal clients, get to that 500 mark, be consistent, and then also use a platform like Instagram to also grow a secondary audience. Okay, so that's the other thing too, is that part of the way that we think about social media is kind of backwards. So I want you to think about your static posts in terms of growth and nurturing, and your stories as nurturing. If you don't use Instagram stories, guess what? You should. Because your Instagram stories are nurturing the audience that you already have, showing them the behind the scenes. They're the less formal stuff than what you actually have living on your static feed. Okay, so that's going to be super important, that you're actually nurturing those people and building that know, like, and trust factor. Okay, the stuff that goes in your static feed is going to be personal story posts, your personal content, your social proof content, and your authority content. Okay, so that's going to be really, really massive as a differentiator between what you put and the way that you think about your static posts versus your stories. I get on my stories, I do my morning coffee thoughts every single day because I'm consistent with it, and it actually, for me, triggers my brain to say, okay, now we're starting the day and we're starting to story. So, at the end of the day, what you want to be doing is nurturing those people, those potential clients, those potential leads through your Instagram stories as well as on your static feed. If you guys have questions about any of this too, please just pop your questions in the comments, and I'm happy to go through any of this. So what else do we want to talk about? So another don't is going to be, so we talked about just listed, just sold. We talked about the pending stuff. We talked about the one-liners. Okay, here's the other thing. Don't create content that speaks to other realtors and not to your ideal clients. This is the number one mistake that I see agents making. If it resonates with you, chances are it's going to resonate with other agents, and it's not going to resonate with the people that you actually want to attract here. So if there's something about hustle, about abundance mentality, about, here, I'll give you a couple of examples. I can probably open my Instagram up right now, and I'm going to see a couple things that are probably no-nos. So let me see here. Um, oh, the other thing I want to mention, because I just saw it as well, I'm going to find you something and show you, is the one-liner post with the pile of hashtags. Your hashtags should be a tiny fraction of a long form post. You don't, anything that's a one liner and that's not actually giving a lot of value is not, it doesn't have a place on the platform. Okay, so I think that that's going to be really important. So here's an ad that just came up and that just came up on my Instagram, and I'm going to talk you through this a little bit. So it says views you won't forget on the 28th floor, and then there's just a big list of things. New luxury vinyl plank flooring, 9-foot ceilings, 28th floor, 2-bedroom and den, parking and locker, low maintenance fees. Guys, this is not going to work on social media. This is not going to work on a platform like Instagram. And then the other thing too is we have another post here. I'm not going to say who it's from, but it's a picture of a condo, and splashed right across the bottom of the picture, it's actually, you can't even really see the picture, is a big Remax, their name, their phone number, their website. That looks like an ad. Okay, that's not something, I like everybody's stuff, and I'm not going to like that because it feels like an ad and it's actually like detracting from what people are actually needing and looking for. So if you have a ton of branding on your social media, take it off and start posting clean pictures. Speaking of pictures, the next thing I want to talk about is brightness of photos. And I posted something in this Facebook group the other day about it, and people misunderstood it. People thought that I was talking about brightness of listing photos and the photos of homes. I'm talking about every single photo. Actually, someone commented on it, and I actually said, you need to brighten your Facebook profile picture. Every single photo you post on anything needs to be brightened. Okay, so if you don't, I'll tell you what I use. I use a preset called Light and Airy Photos. They're fantastic. I've only bought one of them. It was like maybe 30 bucks, 30, maybe 40 bucks. I take a photo, I drop it into Lightroom, and then I throw the light and airy presets on it, and then it gets posted because it's nice and bright, the colors pop, and it's not going to be a dark and gloomy photo. So this goes, and obviously we want to take professional photos of our listings and things like that, but I'm talking about your everyday social media photos. Your everyday social media photos should not be only of homes. Your everyday social media photos should be photos of you. People want to connect to you. They want to see you. If you ever do a test between a picture of a home with nobody in it and a selfie of you, I guarantee you 100% of the time, the selfie of you is going to get more engagement. And it's particularly because that's what social media is for. It's for humans to connect with other humans. Okay. Oh, Eli, you're amazing. Thank you. Yeah. So these are all kinds of do's and don'ts. What else can I tell you about don'ts? Yeah. So when I was talking earlier about, and I want to kind of tie back to this because I want to make sure that this really lands. When we're talking about not speaking to other agents, okay, a lot of the time, I even see people who've gone through our program who are content kings and queens make this mistake every once in a while. And it's because you see something that resonates with you and you think, oh, I want to share this. You have to make sure that you're not creating content, you're not putting content out there, you're not sharing memes, you're not putting things out there that are only for agents. If the general population isn't going to get value from it, it doesn't belong there. Okay, because what's going to happen is you end up building a following of other agents, and that's not what you want. You don't need a whole bunch of agents following you on Instagram or on Facebook. You need ideal clients following you. So I'll give you kind of an example. If I open up my Facebook right now, well, my Facebook's normally like full of our amazing clients. But let me just see. I'm sure that there's going to be something that I'm going to find here that I'm going to think, okay. Oh, and I'm going to talk about this right after. But like something like, you only get what you work for, or just like anything that's geared towards like hustle, grind, entrepreneurship, things like that. It does not belong on your social media. Okay, keep it for yourself, save it, show it to your colleagues, things like that. Send it in direct messages. Don't post it. The last thing that I want to talk about in terms of do's and don'ts. So the very last thing is going to be market reports or market updates. Okay, so don't post an infographic with a bunch of market updates on it with no context. Okay, so here's the idea here, right? If you want to post market updates or you want to do like a what's happening in the market right now, you have it come out of your mouth. Okay, so the most important line, if you get anything from this entire live, write this one down. What does this mean for you? What does this mean for you? Here's what's happening in the market. Here's what this means for you. People need the information distilled. They need to understand how the information, how the market changes, how everything that's going on, how it affects them. They don't need to know that detached prices are up 2%. They don't know what that means for them. So high value content is distilling the information and giving it to them in a way that they can absorb and that they understand, and that also positions you as more of an authority, because guess what? You're actually explaining it to them in a way that they understand it. This is so, so important. Don't just post infographic junk on your social media. People will scroll by it. If you trust me, you're not an infographic king or queen. You need to take the information that you're putting out there and you need to give it to them in context. You need to explain what it means. You need to give your spin and your opinion on it. That's where authority and trust is built. So you have to have separate pages. You can't merge a personal and a business page. So your business page is going to be a separate page than your personal profile. Okay, so we're not talking, when I think it gets confusing when people hear the word personal page. Your personal page is your personal profile. And then you have your business page, which is your real estate page. Okay, so you want to have both, especially if you're running ads. Do not run ads from your personal profile. Always run them from a business page. And then from there, you want to make sure that all of them are actually properly set up. So a profile picture with you in them, your value proposition statement in the cover or the banner photo, as well as a photo of you. That's the biggest piece of real estate that you have on that page. You need to be in it. Okay, so a picture of you with your value proposition and some sort of a call to action, whether it's to download a free asset that you have, whether it's to send a message and ask a question, anything like that. So that's super, super important. Okay, so those things are going to be those are the things that you really want. If you found this valuable, please like tag your friends in it. Share this with people, because honestly, if our entire industry elevates what we're doing online and elevates what we're doing on social media, guess what's going to happen? People aren't going to think that we're used car salesmen anymore, and people aren't going to think that all agents are the same, and people are going to actually start to value the knowledge and the value and the like, basically like what we do in this world. And if everybody does a better job and people stop posting a whole bunch of junk on social media that's not valuable and that doesn't mean anything, the entire industry is going to be better for it.